ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, Text 42. Aham mamaso patiresha me suto vrajeshwarasyākhila vittapa sati gopyash cha gopa sahagodhanascha me यन्माययेत्थं कुमति स मे गतिः। अहं ममासौ पतिरेष मे सुतो अहं ममासौ पतिरेष मे सुतो व्रजेश्वरस्याखिलवित्तपासति व्रजेश्वरस्याखिलवित्तपासति गोप्यश्च गोपासः गोधनाश्च मे गोप्यश्च गोपासः गोधनाश्च मे यन्माययेत्थं कुमति स मे गतिः। यन्माययेत्थं कुमति स मे गतिः। अहं ममासौ पतिरेष मे सुतो व्रजेश्वरस्याखिलवित्तपासति गोप्यश्च गोपासः गोधनाश्च मे यन्माययेत्थं कुमति स मे गतिः। अहं ममासौ पतिरेष मे सुतो व्रजेश्वरस्याखिलवित्तपासति गोप्यश्च गोपासः गोधनाश्च मे यन्माययेत्थं कुमति स मे गतिः। mamasau patiresha me suto Vrajeshwarasya khila vittapasati Gopyascha gopasah godanascha me Yanmaya yetham kumati same gati Aham mamasau patiresha me suto Brajeshwarasya khila vittapasati Gopyascha gopascha me Yanamaya yetham kumati same gati Mataji. Aham mamasau patiresha me suto Vrajeshwarasya khila vittapasati Gopyascha gopasah godanascha me Yanmaya yetham kumati same gati. The word for word meaning of the shloka is as follows. Aham, my existence. I am something. Mama, my. Asau, Nanda Maharaj. Patihi, husband. Esha, this. Krishna. Me Sutaha is my son. Vraja Ishvarasya of my husband Nanda Maharaj. Akhila Vittapa, I am the possessor of unlimited opulence and wealth. Sati, because I am his wife. Gopyacha, and all the damsels of the coward men. Gopa, all the coward men are my subordinates. Sahagodhanacha, with the cows and calves. Me, my. Yatmayaya, all such things addressed by me are, after all, given by the mercy of the Supreme. Itham, thus. Kumati, I am wrongly thinking. They are my positions. Sahame gati, he is therefore my only shelter. I am simply instrumental. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. It is by the influence of the Supreme Lord's Maya that I am wrongly thinking that Nanda Maharaj is my husband, that Krishna is my son, and that because I am the queen of Nanda Maharaj, all the wealth of cows and calves are my possessions, and all the coward men and their wives are my subjects. Actually, I also am eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. He is my ultimate shelter. Purport. Following in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda, everyone should follow this mentality of renunciation. Whatever wealth, opulence, or whatever else we may possess belongs not to us but to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate shelter of everyone and the ultimate owner of everything. As stated by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantim richati. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. We should not be proud of our possessions, as expressed by Mother Yashoda herein. I am not the owner of possessions, the opulent wife of Nanda Maharaj. The estate, the possessions, the cows and calves, and the subjects like the gopis and cowherd men are all given to me. One should give up thinking of my possessions, my son and my husband. Janasya mohoyam aham ameti. Nothing belongs to anyone but the Supreme Lord. Only because of illusion do we wrongly think I am existing or everything belongs to me. Thus Mother Yashoda completely surrendered unto the Supreme Lord. For the moment, she was rather disappointed, thinking, my endeavors to protect my son by charity and other auspicious activities are useless. The Supreme Lord has given me many things, but unless He takes charge of everything, there is no assurance of protection. I must, therefore, ultimately seek shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavatam 7.9.19, Balasya neha sharanam pitaro narsimha. A father and mother cannot ultimately take care of their children. Atho griha kshetra sutapta vittair janasya mohoyam aham mameti. Twice Prabhupada quotes this here. Bhagavatam 5.5.8. One's land, home, wealth and all of one's possessions belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although we wrongly think, I am this and these things are mine. Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Bracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Aham mamaso patiresh me suto brajeshwarasya khila vittapasati gopyascha gopa sahagodhanascha me yan mayayetham kumati same gati. Mother Yashoda is, from one point of view, completely bewildered, and from our point of view, she is completely enlightened. It's strange. She is enlightening us at the cost of our own bewilderment. How this is so, we'll try to find out today. Last Kartik, I had the opportunity to attend a few Kartik sessions taken by His Holiness Mahanidhi Maharaj. We had gone there for a small 4-day yatra, and he used to have afternoon sessions touching on various topics. In one of his discussions, I don't think he exactly mentioned some scriptural citation, but it is just the way our acharyas encourage us to go deep into Srimad Bhagavatam. So, just for the sake of ease of understanding, they have given us this tool. We are familiar with Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik and Adhidaivik concepts. They are not rigid set of definitions. They can be used interchangeably. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Arjuna asks, what is Adhyatma? And what is Adhibhuta? What is Adhidaiva? That answer is different from this set of these three terms when they are used for understanding miseries. For example, the basic Bhagavad Gita class contains this understanding. The living entity is always miserable in this material world. In fact, the very first, you take it in the first class, the search for happiness. Yeah. Radha Gopinath Prabhu has practically immortalized the 7-day Gita course. We can't imagine one without search for happiness and parrot and cage story. They have become part of ISKCON Radha Gopinath Mandir's lore. It's part of our heritage here. Those stories have to come. So Adhibhautik, Bhuta, one meaning of Bhuta is the elements around us. So we say this world is made up of Pancha Mahabhut, 5 big, great elements. These 5 are earth, water, fire, air, ether, Pancha Mahabhut. Bhut also is used to address the living entity. So when we say Adhibhautik misery, that means misery is given to you by other embodied living entities. Could be a mosquito, could be a cockroach, could be your neighbor, could be your boss, your relations, father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, daughter-in-law, you name it. Any living entity being the cause of your misery is kept under this category of Adhibhautik. Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik is here, Atma means your own body and mind. So Adhyatmik misery is the body is aching, the mind is disturbed all the time, mind practically is restless. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, pramathi balavad dridam. Chanchalam, Arjuna describes in the Bhagavad Gita. The mind is restless, chala, chala, chala. That's why it's called chanchala. Pramathi, it churns up topics, churns up descriptions, churns up any scenario, it combines things. Balavat. And if you tell that, please don't take me there, I want to forget this. We have notions of mundane poets writing lofty poetry, so-called lofty poetry, telling their minds, hey, my mind, please don't take me to that topic, as if the mind is going to obey your entreaties. So it is, Arjuna describes as Balavat and Dridam. Sometimes the mind is told, don't move from this topic. It still moves. Almost as if it has its own Life is at its own identity, it had its own, as they say in mechanical language, it has its own batteries included. It has its own power source. It doesn't require your power source. Like you may say, I am dull today. But the mind is hyperactive. You may say, how come, I don't feel like thinking about anything, and the mind keeps giving on thoughts. So, all this in one verse, it comes. Chanchalam, Pramati, Balavad, Dridam. And you may be surprised to note that mostly till the 6th chapter, whatever Arjuna says, is just deflected by Krishna. He says, no, it's not like that. I don't want to fight. I can go on begging. He says, no, you can't beg. This is too ghastly a karma for me. Engage in that. But this time when Krishna is described by Arjun, that, oh Krishna, the mind is like this, the mind is like that. He says, yes, you're right. He doesn't deny it. You are correct, what you're saying. A person like Arjuna is saying that it's easy to control the wind for me, but I can't try even to control the mind. So Adhyatmik is mental and bodily miseries by your own doing. You can't say, like if somebody's mind is disturbed, you can't keep your mind close to his mind and try to understand what's going on. It's impossible. If you try to make somebody just spell out, what exactly is your problem? Sometimes I can't tell you, just my mind is disturbed. So Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, Adhidaiva, we are discussing the miseries only. The miseries part, Adhidaiva is famine, pestilence, earthquakes, tsunamis, anything which your insurance company says is act of God. Yeah, that's how they will be putting on that particular paper. You say my house destroyed by earthquake. In fact, they have that clause that we protect you from this, and any act of God. I mean, just see, as if God is bent upon destroying your possessions. I mean, even in our daily life, it shows how much affection we have for God, or how much do we really respect His. Do we really think we stay in His property? Do we really think that this world belongs to Him actually? No way. We think He's the interference here in our affairs. And especially in the age of Kali, when faith is at its lowest ebb, God has a really bad name, real bad name. Spirituality has a bad name. Anyway, our point is, we are going to use Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, Adhidaivik for understanding Bhagavatam. And I like that particular way in which Mahanadi Maharaj described that. He said, take any pastime, and you can keep it on 3 levels. Adhibhuta, Adhyatmika, and Adhidaiva. Let's say this pastime. What's going on here? A simple, everyday occurrence of a child eating dirt. And the mother is concerned, the mother is asking, mother is making inquiries. So as usual, she asked Krishna, open your mouth. And he opened his mouth. And we saw on Sunday how Vishnu Prabhu read the whole list. Some 14 things Krishna showed. Now why Krishna did that? Why did he show mountains? I mean, he could have shown some bit of opulence. But this is the limit. She saw him showing all these, like how do you show all directions? How do you show all elements? How do you show the entirety of the creation? It beats us, we can't even imagine. And then she saw the village of Vrindavan. The next scene, she saw herself looking in the mouth of her son. So she's seeing this in the mouth of her own son. Now we are bewildered trying to understand this. Mother Yashoda's experience of actually seeing it, we can't imagine. And then she does something which is very strange. She tries to gather her wits. Heard of this term? Gather your wits. Wit, old English term for your faculties of vivek. So you are told by somebody, please compose yourself, control yourself. Don't be overwhelmed by any material phenomenon. Of course, we do. There's a death in the family, loss of wealth, sudden accident. These things really make us lose our mental balance. So she, being bewildered, is trying to make sense of it. So, Maharaji Maharaj was describing, at one level, the Adhibhuta level, just understand what's going on in this pastime. Just understand what's going on. Somebody is becoming bewildered and she or he is desperately trying to gather her wits. And how does she do it? Most exemplary way. That's what the main theme of today's verse is. Oh, nothing is mine. I'm in Maya to think that this body is mine, this is my husband, this is my kingdom, my husband rules over everybody. And since he rules over everybody and he's my husband, so this also belongs to me. This is all Maya. At Adhyatma level, now there is no high and low. This is, I'll repeat again and again. This is just for us to understand how to go deeper into Bhagavatam. At the Adhyatmic level, how does it relate to me? What lesson I can gather from this? And then he said at the Adhidaiva level, somebody will ask a question, she is a mother of Krishna, she is a mother of God, how can she be bewildered? You're not supposed to ask this question here. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we all know, is a Manjari, is an eternal associate of the Lord. And one simple but trying to be an intellectual kind of brahmachari went and asked him that, Guru Maharaj, in one Leela, I read that Radharani became proud. So how do we understand that? And he was thinking, is there in the Bhagavatam that she became proud? And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was incensed. He said, we belong to her party. We are in her group. Now just imagine his thinking all the time. I mean, she's our mistress. Pardon me, this word is correct. It is a feminine of master. It is not used in that sense, but that's what it is. Master, masculine, and feminine is mistress. So she's, or today we can call it, she's the boss. That makes sense, right? Yeah. She's the boss. So Radharani is the boss. Everything works under her direction. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was trying to say, you dare find fault in her? If you find fault in her, there is no hope for you. Of course, just looking at his demeanor, the brahmachari knew that he stepped on an intellectual landmine. I should not have asked this question. And he just, sorry. But this was Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's mood. That we serve under her and we don't find faults with her. I mean, even in the army, in the services, you don't find faults with your boss. Whatever he says, you say, yes, sir. There it is done by force, here it is done by love. The fact of the matter is, many things in Krishna Leela, we may just say, I can't understand this. But the fact is, they are not meant for your understanding. I mean, not to sound too, what they say, pontifical, that, this is something you have to accept and you can't debate. No. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that for every Leela, Sri Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichar. Vichar karile chitte pabe chamatkar. You use your logic, use your understanding. But one good use of logic is to know when not to use it. We begin with our logical tools and then we withdraw. Here you can't understand that. So, at one level, what's going on? The elements, how are they interacting? Somebody is getting influenced by bewilderment. Oh, that's the main part of this Leela here. Another level, what can I learn from it? And the Daiva, here Daiva means celestial, or rather, Daiva means highly elevated, much beyond what that sadhaka level is. So, for most Leelas, we just don't touch the Daiva part. We just read it, and if we can make sense of it, we accept it. Otherwise, we move on. I think there is maybe one or two letters of Prabhupada being told by devotees that some of the esoteric parts of 10th canto, they find disturbing. Maybe the rasa dance or the stealing of the clothes of the gopis. And Prabhupada very simply said, don't read that. If you feel it's disturbing you, then skip. There's so many things, so many other things to read and discuss and probably digest. So beginning with this in our mind, we'll not touch the Daiva part here as to how Yashoda Mai can become bewildered or what exactly happened to her. That's none of our business. But the other two parts we will. So, how does a living entity get bewildered? I checked in the 3rd canto. It has a description of Brahma creating a universe. Bhagavatam takes you right at the spot. There is no universe yet. Everything is within the stem. The stem is called Hiranyagarbha. And it's all effulgent. Prabhupada writes in the purport there, living entity is originally also effulgent. The Lord is effulgent. Everything is effulgent. And I mean, I just have this mundane understanding to my mind. You are seeing a rocket being launched, or you are seeing a bomb being exploded, or a nuclear test being performed. So you have this countdown. Everything ready, they are checking systems. Okay, 5 minutes and counting. And click, 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 click. 3 minutes and counting. And 2 minutes and counting. 1 minute. Then they actually count 59, 58, 30, 29, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off if it's a rocket, or explosion if it is a chain reaction kind of thing. So the 3rd canto gives us that kind of understanding, and it says clearly there, Shukadeva Goswami mentions that Lord Brahma created the universe yathavat. So it's not like this is the first time, this universe is being created, how wonderful, these lands, seas, air, everything. No. The same process is going on for the last so many, we lost count how many times this universe has been created. To give a mundane example, how many Tuesdays have you seen in your life? Today is a Tuesday. How many such Tuesdays have you experienced? You may say, I'm 24 years and every week has 1, every month has 4, every year has 48, 52, sorry. So 23, at least 1,000 or more. So your mind, teeny life, it's so many. How many Tuesdays since we started counting history? Although some historians may say, before this there was no history, but Tuesdays were there. Not? Can't say that there are no Tuesdays or something. So therefore, the Bhagavatam or Vedic literature is a simple word, anadi. All these were there because Tuesday, we don't know who was Tues or who was But Sunday, Monday, sun and moon. But suddenly, Mangal was there, the planet, whenever it was created, the beginning of the universe. So, since the beginning of this universe, all these things are there. And Brahma is creating the universe yathavat, as it was there already. So, he is compared by Prabhupada to a chief engineer of a particular, you can call a factory or something. The owner sits in his house enjoying. The owner doesn't bother to work with valves and spanners and everything. That's the chief engineer's job. But because the chief engineer is so powerful, he is so knowledgeable, he is sometimes compared to having as much independence as the owner himself. So I found this a nice clue. This is how to understand those verses where Brahma is compared to the Supreme Lord. He is almost as independent from that angle, not fully. And certainly he doesn't accept it that I am like the Lord. So what does he do? We are talking of bewilderment here, that aham mama janasya mohoyam. How come I get caught up in this? I mean, if you read this, you'll be surprised that the kind of moha, the kind of ignorance is prevailing. Brahmaji creates 5 coatings of ignorance. I mean, one of them is enough to completely subdue anyone for eternity, but he uses 5. Tamisra, Andhatamisra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. And what these 5 do, that's also described in Vishnu Puran, and that is taken in the Srimad Bhagavatam purport by Prabhupada. Tamisra is basically anger, krodha, but also it borders or is connected with envy. We are supposed to be devotees here, that's why we are here. And when we read in the Bhagavatam about the living entity trying to enjoy like Krishna, and we feel, oh yeah, I do have that problem. I have done it so many times in the past. This remorse is good enough. This means you're on the recovery path. But outside the realm of pure devotion, this Tamisra acts. The living entity feels angry. Why him? Why Krishna? Why can't I be an independent enjoyer? The moment you have people or someone saying like that, you can say this is Tamisra in action. Then there is Andha Tamisra. Andha Tamisra is death is the end of everything. Bas. Prabhupada was in Moscow, the USSR Academy of Sciences, the Asia section, Indology department, and you have Professor Kotovsky. Swamiji, when the body dies, the owner of the body also dies. Finished. You may say, what do you mean finished? Yeah, all accounts squared. Not that this kind of mentality was not prevalent in India. We have Charvak. Some say Charvak was a Muni, some say Charvak stands for all the atheists who talked like that. Charu Vak, very sweet, flowery language. That's also a meaning of taken from that. But Prabhupada seems to have always taken the position that there was one Charvak Muni. And he says, beg, borrow, steal. Just enjoy life. Rinam kritva ghritam pibet. You take loans if you eat food, good food. You may say, oh, what do you lose to tell me that, just eat good food? I don't have money. He says, beg. You can't get by begging. He says, borrow. Says, I have exhausted all my creditors. So steal. But eat good food. So what about the debts which may keep on piling up? If I take money, in fact, today you have to be having a economics PhD to understand what kind of nonsense is going on outside. Almost every country is a big debtor. Now how can you have all debtors and how will they live? Doesn't make sense. America says China is its enemy. They owe them $200 billion. When are you going to repay it back? They say, actually, never. You may say, what do you mean? How can you run economies like that? How can you run whole countries like that? They say, we have a solution. When it becomes too much, war. War solves everything. So just like right now, young people between the age of 25 and 45, that's how you and me can't imagine what it means that a politician makes a big mistake, runs the whole of his nation into a warlike situation, and then just tell people, Desh dharma karo, balidan karo, do this and do that. But the root cause of that is this mentality. Every scripture worth its name talks about don't be a debtor, live within your means. This is grandma wisdom. You don't need to read economic tomes or have a degree from London School of Economics to understand that. But this is what is going on today. There is a lot of propaganda through the commonest newspapers, magazines. If you want to buy a car, you have to spend 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 8 lakhs, whatever. If you take on credit, it's much cheaper. Who tells you that? The car company. Now, obviously, when he's telling me to buy something from his shop, there has to be some selfish motive. It's simply mind-boggling how this one thing, just beg, borrow, steal. And Charvak, if he was asked that, hey, what about pap and what about repaying the whole thing? He says, bhasmi bhutasya dehasya. Once your body is burnt to ashes, hey, who's the witness left? I mean, who's the convicted person? There is no one to catch you. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragaman kuta. Who knows whether you are going to come back here or again? You have just successfully convinced yourself that there is no punaragaman. Prabhupada sometimes used to ask simple questions like a child asking. Like there is a sort of a society who say that once you are born as a man, human being, your next life also will be like a human being. Someone told me that. I said, why? Simple. If it's a mango tree, it will give mangoes, there will be mango seeds, you plant them again, they will give rise to mango trees. Is it not? I said, I know this, that mango fruits will always have a mango seed and they will, when you put them in the soil, they will always give rise to a mango fruit, a mango tree. What makes you think that the human life is like that seed? So what about the whole creation? Why this living entity got the body of an ant? If you smack it, again it will be born as an ant only. It doesn't make any damn sense, doesn't it? It makes a fool of the person who created the whole system. And that's what these people want. That ultimately, this world doesn't make any sense. Prabhupada is very good. To tell this world doesn't make any sense, you write thick, fat books this size. Just to make us understand this world doesn't make any sense. And your book makes sense. Nothing makes sense except your book. Right? So that's the problem. Prabhupada says you can't explain on the basic facts of material nature why so many varieties. You may say, well, I don't know. Then at least you agree that you are ignorant. So, varieties are based upon actions. You may go to a school, there are people in so many different grades. You go to your train station, you want to go to Vrindavan. Everything is one. There's a general class. Oh, struggle for existence. There's a second class, little bit lesser struggle for existence. There is a first class. There may not be struggle for existence, but there will be a struggle in the mind about so much money I have to pay here or whatever. But there are varieties. On the platform, all passengers are one, no problem. But according to their paying capacity, they get a seat there inside. So living entities are one, part and parcel of Krishna, no problem with that. But when they take material bodies, they're all variegated. So, Andhata Misra gives the understanding that death is the ultimate end. And people talk in terms of, ek din to marna hai, you will die one day. That doesn't mean they are intellectuals, that we know what is death. Or if somebody says, I don't care about death, that doesn't mean he has conquered death. Like students before an exam can say, I don't fear the exam. Show me your report card. Your report card will show whether you really fear exams or not. So whether after death somebody gets admitted to the kingdom of God, that shows whether he has conquered death or not. Dhruva Maharaj, he requested Krishna, don't give me these benedictions. Krishna says, no, you take them. Why? Tomorrow you and me may say, hey, this whole bhakti game is something you say, Krishna, Krishna, give me, and when Krishna gives, you politely should say, no, don't give me. But you may say, but I want it. I actually have a desire to gain something. And I can't be a fake Dhruva Maharaj. So Krishna told Dhruva Maharaj, you take it. Let posterity understand that when I want to give something, I can actually give. It's not like it's a Lucknowi Nawab exchange where you actually offer somebody something and his job is to refuse, your job is to offer. No, bhakti is real. So Krishna gave him that. And what fantastic achievements. Dhruva Maharaj, when he was about to board that Vaikuntha plane, death personified came there. It was almost as if, hey, I am supposed to have some role in this whole thing. It's as if the death was saying, you forgot me. Here is a devotee who is going to Vaikuntha, and death, I have no role. So death personified told Dhruva Maharaj, you know, in previous days, horse carriages, the carriage would be very high on the top, and your foot pedestal has to be unwinded. It just comes down like this. Or for aeroplane, they have this ramp. You know, the staircases, they are joined. Imagine Dhruva Maharaj used death as a stepping stone. Death came there and said, put your foot on my head. He stepped on his head and boarded that plane. Symbolically, this means the devotee conquers death. Death is not an obstacle for a devotee. Death becomes a stepping stone. It's a broad entrance into eternity, blissful, a life of eternity, bliss and knowledge. Then there is tamas. Tamas simply means no knowledge of the soul. Where is the soul? Where is the soul? Nobody has seen the soul. Dr. Bigelow, we read in the Science of Self-Realization, he was some kind of pioneer in what they call cold storage cardiac surgery. Keep your heart in cold storage and then do some kind of surgery. So he once made a remark. He said, I've seen so many people die, and it looks almost as if somebody has switched off the light inside. You see these sodium vapor lamps outside in the street? When they are put off in the, like sometimes they go out even with, nobody puts them off, municipal lamps. But you see those dysfunctional lamps, how they go off. It is not like a tube light, like that. It goes slowly. So Dr. Bigelow was saying, I almost see life in the eyes of my patient And if it's a cardiac arrest, like pumping, they are beating on his, and suddenly he says, I get this gut feeling he's going to go. They use same terms as the Bhagavatam says, going, gone, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. But who is gone? That I don't know. So there is no knowledge of the soul. Even though you may see something is less. Prabhupada again asks simple questions. What is missing? This body. It's the body of a great scientist. 3 times Nobel Prize winner. What's missing? So, well, he's dead. No, don't tell me what is it. What is missing? He's gone. He passed away. Brilliant scientist passed away. So that means the Nobel Prize winner passed away. This is remaining, this is not the winner, what you have in front of you. So Atma Sakshatkar, Prabhupada says the basic point, 2.13, Dehinosmin yatha dehe, the soul lives in the body. It's such a basic point, Krishna never repeats it again. So many things he repeats, think of me, my devotee, this is how you do bhakti is so important, detachment, detach yourself. But this one point he just mentions once and gone. It's like the basic ABC of spiritual life.